Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In lecture 1, we have learned about the basic concepts of heat transfer. That what is heat transfer, what causes the heat to transfer, what are the different modes of heat transfer, and we have found that there are three modes of heat transfer, which are conduction, convection, and radiation. We have learned the simple rate equations of conduction, convection, and radiation. Now in lecture 2, we are going to do some problems related to introduction of heat transfer. These are the simple problems and address the simple rate equations of conduction, convection, and radiation. All problems that we are going to do in this lecture are from our textbook in Cropra and David 7th edition. This is the first problem, which is problem 1-10 of our textbook, and it states that a freezer compartment consists of a cubical cavity that is 2 meters on a side. Assume the bottom to be perfectly insulated. What is the minimum thickness of the styrofoam insulation? K is equals to 0.030 watt per meter Kelvin that must be applied to the top and side walls to ensure a heat loss of less than 500 watt when the inner and outer surfaces are at -10 and 35 degrees centigrade. We have a cubical compartment of a freezer and its bottom side is perfectly insulated. This is the schematic which is available on your screen. You can see that 5 sides 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which are green in color, allows the heat transfer, but the sixth side, the bottom side, which is red in color, does not allow any heat transfer because it is perfectly insulated. If the inside temperature is maintained at -10 degrees centigrade and outside temperature is maintained at 35 degrees centigrade, and we have to ensure that heat loss should be less than 500 watt, then what should be the minimum thickness of the styrofoam insulation, which has a thermal conductivity of 0.030 watt per meter Kelvin. The heat transfer through the freezer compartment is given by Fourier's law of heat transfer. We have learned Fourier's law of heat transfer in our first lecture, and it's simply Q is equals to Ka T1 minus T2 over delta X, where Q is the heat loss, K is the thermal conductivity, A is the perpendicular area to the heat transfer, T1 is the outside temperature, T2 is the inside temperature, and delta X is the thickness of the material through which heat transfer occurs. In our problem statement, heat loss Q is equals to 500 watt. Thermal conductivity of styrofoam is given, which is 0.030 watt per meter Kelvin. T1 is the outside temperature and it is 35 degrees centigrade. T2 is the inside temperature of the freezer compartment and it is -10 degrees centigrade. Area of the compartment. A is the area of the compartment. Since 5 sides are taking part in heat transfer, each side has a dimension of 2 by 2 meter. So the overall area which is perpendicular to the heat transfer will be 5 into 2 into 2, which comes out to be 20 meter square. We have the value of Q, K, T1, T2 and A. We will put the value of all these value in equation of Fourier's law of heat transfer, and it comes out to be 500 is equals to 0.030 into 20, 35 plus 10 upon delta X. Upon solving this equation, the minimum thickness of the styrofoam insulation comes out to be 0.054 meter or 54 millimeter. This should be the minimum thickness of the styrofoam insulation in order to maintain the heat loss less than 500 watt. Now we are moving towards another problem, which is problem 1-15 of our book, and its statement is the 5 millimeter thick bottom of a 200 millimeter diameter pen may be made from aluminium, K is equals to 240 watt per meter Kelvin, or copper, K is equals to 390 watt per meter Kelvin. When used to boil water, the surface of the bottom exposed to the water is nominally at 110 degrees centigrade. If heat is transferred from the stove to the pan at a rate of 600 watt, what is the temperature of the surface in contact with the stove for each of the two materials? In this problem, we have a pan which has a thickness of 5 millimeter and diameter of 200 millimeter, and it is used to boil water, and water is at a temperature of 110 degrees centigrade. If heat transfer from the stove to the pan is at a rate of 600 watt, then what will be the temperature of the surface that comes in contact for aluminium and for copper? This is a pan having thickness of 5 millimeter and diameter of 200 millimeter. Heat is transferring from bottom to the upward, and heat transfer from the stove to the pan is 600 watt. The upside of the pan which is exposed to the water is maintained at a temperature of 110 degrees centigrade. Now we have to find the bottom side temperature for each of these two material. Again, heat transfer through the pan will be given by Fourier's law of heat transfer, and it is simply Q is equals to Ka T1 minus T2 over delta X, where Q is the heat transfer, K is the thermal conductivity of the material, A is the area perpendicular to the heat transfer, T1 and T2 are the two adjacent sides temperature, and delta X is the thickness through which heat transfer occurs. From question we have Q is equals to 600 watt, T2 which is upper side temperature, and it is maintained at 110 degrees centigrade. Perpendicular area will be the circular area of the pan, because pan is in circular cross section. So the area which is perpendicular to the heat transfer will simply the circular area, and it is pi by 4 d square, and it comes out to be 0.0314 meter square. Thickness of the pan is 5 millimeter. We have to find bottom side temperature. In first case the pan is made up of aluminium, and in second case the pan is made up of copper. For aluminium, which has a thermal conductivity of 240 watt per meter Kelvin, we will put the value of Q, K, A, T2 and delta X in the equation of Fourier's law of heat transfer, and by solving this equation we have found that the bottom side temperature is 110.4 degrees centigrade in case of aluminium. Now for copper, which has a thermal conductivity of 390 watt per meter Kelvin, we will again solve the equation of Fourier's law of heat transfer, and from this equation we have found that the bottom side temperature is 110.25 degrees centigrade in case of copper. In case of aluminium, the bottom side temperature which is exposed to the stove is 110.4 degrees centigrade, and in case of copper, the bottom side which is exposed to the stove is at 110.25 degrees centigrade. Now the next problem is problem 1-21 of our book, which is Incropra and David's 7th edition, and it states that an electric resistance heater is embedded in a long cylinder of diameter 30 millimeter. When water with a temperature of 25 degrees centigrade and velocity of 1 meter per second flows cross over the cylinder, the power per unit length required to maintain the surface at a temperature of 90 degrees centigrade is 28 kilowatt per meter. When air, also at 25 degrees centigrade but with a velocity of 10 meter per second, is flowing, the power per unit length required to maintain the same surface temperature is 400 watt per meter. Calculate and compare the convection coefficients for the flows of water and air. In this problem, we have a long cylinder which has a diameter of 30 millimeter and its surface is maintained at a constant temperature of 90 degrees centigrade. Fluid is flowing over it and the fluid is maintained at a temperature of 25 degrees centigrade. In first case, the fluid is water which is flowing with velocity of 1 meter per second and temperature of 25 degrees centigrade. When water with velocity of 1 meter per second and 25 degrees centigrade temperature flows over the cylinder, the power required to maintain the temperature of the cylinder around 90 degrees centigrade is 28 kilowatt per meter. It means we require 28 kilowatt per meter power in order to maintain the temperature of the cylinder at 90 degrees centigrade when water with a velocity of 1 meter per second and a temperature of 25 degrees centigrade flows over the cylinder. But when we change the type of fluid from water to air, and air is flowing with a velocity of 10 meter per second but at the same temperature of 25 degrees centigrade, the power required to maintain the same temperature of 90 degrees centigrade is 400 watt per meter. It means we require 400 watt per meter power in order to maintain the temperature of the cylinder at 90 degrees centigrade when air at 25 degrees centigrade and with a velocity of 10 meter per second is flowing over the pipe. So in both cases of water and air, we have to calculate the convection coefficients. Heat will transfer from cylinder to the air because cylinder is maintained at a temperature of 90 degrees centigrade and fluid is maintained at a temperature of 25 degrees centigrade. The heat transfer from the cylinder to the fluid is given by Newton's law of cooling, and the statement of Newton's law of cooling we have learned in our first lecture, and its equation is Q is equals to HATS minus T infinity, where Q is the heat transfer from the surface to the fluid, H is the convection coefficient, A is the area perpendicular to the heat transfer, Ts is the surface temperature, and T infinity is the temperature of the fluid. The area which is perpendicular to the direction of heat is equal to the surface area of the cylinder, and it is pi dl, where d is the diameter of the cylinder and l is the length of the cylinder. In case of water, the power required to maintain the temperature at 90 degrees centigrade is 28 kilowatt per meter. It is basically power per unit length, and from a statement of Newton's law of cooling, Q is equals to HA Ts minus T infinity, By substituting the value of A equal to pi dl in the Newton's law of cooling, we have found that Q is equals to HW into pi dl into Ts minus T infinity. Here HW is the convection coefficient associated with water. By changing the position of length or dividing the whole equation by length, we have found that Q by L is equals to HW into pi d into Ts minus T infinity, and heat transfer per unit length is equal to HW into pi d into Ts minus T infinity. In case of water, Q dash is 28 kilowatt per meter, D is 30 millimeter, and Ts is 90 degree centigrade, and T infinity is 25 degree centigrade. When we put the value of Q dash, D, Ts and T infinity in equation of Newton's law of cooling, we have come up with convection coefficient in case of water around 4570 watt per meter square Kelvin. That in case of water, convection coefficient is 4570 watt per meter square Kelvin. In case of air, the power required per unit length is 400 watt per meter. Again, Q dash is equals to HA into pi d into Ts minus T infinity. HA is the convection coefficient associated with air, and we have derived this equation by just dividing the equation of Newton's law of cooling by the length of the cylinder, and we have come up with equation 400 into HA is equals to HA into pi into 0.03 into 90 minus 25. By solving this equation, we have found that convection coefficient in case of air is 65.3 watt per meter square Kelvin. Now we are moving towards another problem, which is problem number 1-25 of our textbook, and it states that a common procedure for measuring the velocity of an air stream involves the insertion of an electrically heated wire called a hot wire anemometer into the airflow with the axis of the wire oriented perpendicular to the flow direction. The electrical energy dissipated in the wire is assumed to be transferred to the air by forced convection. Hence, for a prescribed electrical power, the temperature of the wire depends on the convection coefficient, which in turn depends on the velocity of the air. Consider a wire of length L is equals to 20 millimeter and diameter D is equals to 0.5 millimeter, for which a calibration of the form V is equals to 6.25 exponent minus 5 times h square has been determined. The velocity V and the convection coefficient h have units of meter per second and watt per meter square Kelvin respectively. In an application involving air at a temperature of T infinity is equals to 25 degrees centigrade, the surface temperature of the anemometer is maintained at Ts is equals to 75 degrees centigrade with a voltage drop of 5 volt at an electric current of 0.1 ampere. What is the velocity of the air? In this problem, we have an anemometer which is used to measure the velocity of the air stream. I think you have learned about the anemometer in the course of fluid mechanics, and anemometer is used to measure the velocity of air stream. The length of the anemometer is 20 millimeter and the diameter of the anemometer wire is 0.5 millimeter, and air is flowing over the anemometer as shown by these arrow, which is available on your screen, and the velocity of the air stream is calibrated with the convection coefficient, and the calibration comes out to be V is equals to 6.25 times h square, 6.25 exponent minus 5 times h square. The surface of the anemometer is maintained at a temperature of 75 degrees centigrade, and the air which is flowing over the anemometer is at a temperature of 25 degrees centigrade. If the voltage drop across the anemometer is 5 volt and current flows of 0.1 ampere, then we have to find what is the velocity of the air. We are applying electrical power to the anemometer, and electrical power is dissipated as heat in the anemometer. The anemometer is heated by resistance heating, and as mentioned that resistance due to resistance heated, heat dissipated is equal to the input electrical power. So Q will be P is equal to the product of current and voltage. From problem statement, we have current 0.1 ampere and voltage drop of 5 volt. The perpendicular area to the heat transfer will be the surface area of the anemometer wire, and if you look closely at the anemometer wire, it is cylinder, and the perpendicular area to the heat transfer will be the surface area of the cylinder, and in this case anemometer wire is the cylinder which has a length of 20 millimeter and diameter of 0.5 millimeter. So area of the anemometer comes out to be 0.00003142 meter square. This is the area perpendicular to the heat transfer. The surface of the anemometer is maintained at a temperature of 75 degrees centigrade, and the air flowing over the surface of the anemometer is at 25 degrees centigrade. The heat transfer will be given by Newton's law of cooling, and we have learned that Newton's law of cooling is simply Q is equals to HA Ts minus T infinity, where Q is the overall heat transfer, H is the convection coefficient, A is the area perpendicular to the heat transfer, Ts is the surface temperature, and T infinity is the fluid temperature. The heat transfer is simply the input electrical power, because heat transfer is the heat dissipated in the anemometer, and the heat dissipated is equal to the input electrical power, and we know that input electrical power is simply the product of current and voltage, and from this calculation heat transfer comes out to be 0.5 watt. We have the value of Q, we have value of perpendicular area, we have value of Ts and T infinity. So we can solve Newton's law of cooling for convection coefficient, and from this equation convection coefficient comes out to be 318 watt per meter square Kelvin. The velocity of the air, which is given in the problem statement through calibration, and it is V is equals to 6.25 exponent minus 5 h square. By just substituting the value of h, which is 318 watt per meter square Kelvin, the velocity of the air comes out to be 6.33 meter per second. Now we are moving towards another problem which is problem number 1-28, and its statement is an overhead 25-meter long uninsulated industrial steam pipe of 100 millimeter diameter is routed through a building whose walls and air are at 25 degrees centigrade. Pressurized steam maintains a pipe surface temperature of 150 degrees centigrade and the coefficient associated with the natural convection is H is equals to 10 watt per meter square Kelvin. The surface emissivity is epsilon is equals to 0.8. Part A, what is the rate of heat loss from the steam line? Part B, if the steam is generated in a gas-fired boiler operating at an efficiency of 90% and natural gas is priced at $0.02 per megajoule, what is the annual cost of heat loss from the line? We have uninsulated industrial steam pipe having 100 millimeter diameter and 25 millimeter in length is passing through a building whose walls and air are maintained at a temperature of 25 degrees centigrade. The pipe which carry pressurized steam is maintained at a temperature of 150 degrees centigrade. The convection associated with natural convection is H is equals to 10 watt per meter square Kelvin, and emissivity of epsilon is equals to 0.8 is given. We have to find the rate of heat loss from the steam line, and we have to find the annual cost of heat loss from the line if gas fired boiler having an efficiency of 90% is used to produce the pressurized steam. The cost of natural gas is given, which is $0.02 per megajoule. We have long uninsulated pipe having length of 25 millimeter and diameter of 100 millimeter, and the surface of the pipe is maintained at a temperature of 150 degrees centigrade. The pipe is surrounded by the walls and the surroundings are maintained at a temperature of 25 degrees centigrade. Air is also flowing over the pipe, and the temperature of the air is also 25 degrees centigrade. Since pipe is at higher temperature and air and surrounding are at lower temperature, so heat will loss from pipe to the air and walls. Heat loss from the pipe to the surrounding will be in the form of radiation, and heat loss from the pipe to the air will be the convection heat loss. The overall heat loss will be the sum of convection and radiation. Uh, the mode of heat transfer occurs between pipe and the surrounding is radiation, and the mode of heat transfer occurs between pipe and the air is convection. And in problem statement, the convection coefficient associated with this natural convection is 10 watt per meter square Kelvin. The overall heat transfer will be the sum of radiative heat transfer and the convective heat transfer. Now the overall heat transfer from the pipe will be the sum of convective heat transfer and radiative heat transfer. Convective heat transfer will be given by Newton's law of cooling, and it is HATS minus T infinity. H is the convection coefficient, A is the area perpendicular to the heat transfer, Ts is the surface temperature, and T infinity is the fluid temperature. Q radiation will be epsilon sigma A Ts power 4 minus T surrounding power 4. Here epsilon is the emissivity of the material, which is 0.8 given in the problem statement. Sigma is the Stefan Boltzmann constant and its value is constant. A is the area perpendicular to the heat transfer. Again Ts is the surface temperature and T surrounding is the temperature of the surrounding. Now here remember one thing, that whenever you are going to solve for radiative heat transfer, always put the value of temperature in Kelvin scale. Don't put the value of temperature in degree centigrade. If you put the value of temperature in degree centigrade, then the result will be full of error. So in order to avoid any kind of error, always put the value of temperature in Kelvin scale when you are going to solve for radiation heat transfer. For conduction and convection, it's your choice that either you put the value in degree centigrade or you put the value in Kelvin scale. But for radiation, it is mandatory to put the value of temperature in Kelvin scale. I repeat, always put the value of temperature in Kelvin scale when you are going to solve for radiation heat transfer. Q convection will be 10 into pi into 0.1 into 25 into 150 minus 25, and it comes out to be 9817.4 watts. Again, area will be the surface area of the cylinder, because the area perpendicular to the heat transfer will be the surface area of the cylinder, and it is simply pi dl, as we have used in previous problems. So by using this, convection heat loss comes out to be 9817.4 watts. Q radiation will be epsilon sigma 8 Ts power 4 minus T surrounding power 4. Epsilon is 0.8 given in the problem statement. Sigma is the Stefan Boltzmann constant, and it is 5.67 exponent minus 8 watt per meter square Kelvin power 4. Area is pi dl, which is pi into 0.1 into 25. Now I have put the value of temperature in Kelvin scale. 150 degree centigrade is equal to 423 Kelvin, and 25 degree centigrade is equal to 298 Kelvin. By substituting these values, the radiative heat loss comes out to be 8596.2 watts. Now you can solve radiative heat transfer by substituting the values of temperature in degree centigrade. If you do so, you will find that value will be differ from this value, which is 8596.2 watt. This value will not obtain if you put the temperature in degree centigrade. But if you put the value of temperature in Kelvin scale when you are going to solve for convection, you will find that same answer will be obtained, which is 9817.4 watt. But for radiative heat loss, this value will not obtain if you are going to use temperature in degree centigrade. Overall heat loss will be the sum of convection and radiation heat loss, and overall heat loss comes out to be 18,413 watts. Now we have to calculate the annual energy lost from the pipe. Total energy lost from the pipe in an year will be Q into 3600 second per hour into 24 hour per day into 365 day per year. We have found Q is equals to 18,413 watt, and the annual energy lost comes out to be 5.8 exponent 11 joules per year. This is the annual energy lost from the pipe, that in an year 5.8 exponent 11 joules of heat will be lost. Now, how much energy will be consumed in order to produce steam having an energy of 5.8 exponent 11 joules per year. It will be EF is equals to E upon efficiency of the furnace, and efficiency of the furnace given in the problem statement is 90%. By solving this, the energy consumed by the furnace in an year comes out to be 6.45 exponent 11 joules per year. Now we are going to determine the cost save if you apply the insulation. Cost save will be the product of energy loss into the cost required to generate that energy, and the cost required to generate that energy is dollar 0.02 megajoule. The energy consumed by the furnace is 6.45 exponent 11 joules per year, and it is around 6.5 exponent 5 megajoules per year. When you solve this, you will find that cost save in an year is around dollar 12,900. This much cost will be saved by applying insulation if you stop this heat loss from the pipe. This much amount will be saved in an year, which is dollar 12,900 per year. Here we have done with the problems of lecture 1. Hope you enjoyed these problems, and these problems are clear. If you have any query, any question regarding these problems, you can ask in live session, and you can ask via a text message. Thank you.